out of the car. Oh! Fucking bitch.
Oh shit! What the fuck? They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Right at the corner of Jefferson.
Arizona Senator Ruben Gallego came armed with disturbing ICE arrest videos, and what happened next left the hearing room silent. After showing officers pepper spraying civilians, mishandling weapons, and one agent holding a gun in one hand and a cell phone in the other, Gallego demanded a simple explanation. In what world is that acceptable law enforcement training?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to show some videos of what the Trump administration has done in some of these cities across the country. If we could hit play on that. Thank you.
Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car. Oh! Fucking bitch.
Oh shit! What the fuck? They killed him? Did they fucking kill that guy? Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Right at the corner of Jefferson.
Get out of the car.
No, I will not get out of the car. You
Get out of
can't.
the car.
Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off me.
Oh,
We saw that. ICE Code of Conduct says, quote, all ICE employees must be paid professionally and must be a model for all to follow. Director Lyons, yes or no, is the behavior you just witnessed a model you think agents should follow?
Sorry about that, sir. Sir, I can't speak to each one individually.
You can't just...
Each ICE officers are held to a higher standard and higher conduct, but in every case, like I already stated before, between, Tennessee versus Gardner, Graham versus O'Connor.
It's also just an issue of common sense. Like, right, even the last one where that woman is being pepper sprayed, there was enough standoff distance that she's clearly not a threat, and he directly puts a non-lethal into her face. Speaking of non-lethals, are all ICE agents, even the ones that are new ICE agents, trained in the use of non-lethals? Pepper spray, mace, tasers.
Yes, sir.
They employ it on themselves, too, so they understand the impact of it.
Yes, sir. I've been sprayed many times. It's horrible.
Yeah, same here. Okay. Right now, what is the training cycle for new ICE agents? How many days?
So we reduced the actual calendar days from 75 to 42. We went from 5 days a week to 6 days a week. 5 days a week was 5 8-hour days, and we've gone to 6 12-hour days.
And that is given enough sufficient experience for them to be dealing in these very dynamic areas and urban areas with including weapons handling, because I've seen some of your ICE agents and their weapons handlers. It's quite horrible. Do you think that in those time period you could actually insert people into an environment as dynamic as Minnesota and other places, and they're actually using weapons in the correct way?
So, sir, what we've done on the backside of that is we've instituted our OJT program, which, as you in law enforcement are familiar with, much like an FTO program, where after the academy they get the railroad training like you would once a local police officer comes out of the academy.
So the OTG is happening in places like Minnesota. So somebody who probably has never handled a weapon after 42 days is going to be inserted into Minnesota into a high-stress environment.
They could, sir. Yes, sir.
Explains a lot. In one of the videos you saw earlier, there was a gentleman, ICE agent, or I believe it's CBP agent, that is hitting Mr. Petrie in the face with a tear gas canister. Without actually talking about that specific event, where in any training manual have you been taught, or I was never taught, that I should use something like that as a weapon against a civilian or against anyone trying to detain?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No, sir.
Mr. Scott, have you ever been trained to use maybe a pistol to pistol whip somebody while you're trying to detain them, or a canister of that nature? Not specifically to this thing, but in general, any of your training?
Absolutely not, although there's an exception that in certain circumstances, meaning your life's at risk, you don't have anything else, you can use whatever you have available.
Sure, weapons of opportunity. I'm training that shit too. Pardon me, in that stuff too. Back it up now. So why don't you do that from your training? Why are you not supposed to use a pistol to pistol whip somebody, or a canister of tear gas while you're trying to restrain somebody? you remember your training, why they told you to do that? You go first, Mr. Lyons.
No, sir. Why don't we do that, sir?
Yes, why don't you do that?
So you're not going to pistol whip an individual for fear the weapon's going to go off?
Exactly. And so what we've seen consistently is a lot of CBP agents, and in this case, customs agents, that are clearly either violating or putting other people in danger or themselves in danger. And the fact that they're doing that tells me there is a command structure and element that allows that to happen, because we consistently see it all the time on video. And, I have been in those high-stress environments, and if I had seen this consistently done by Marines, I think the Marine and the Marine Corps would have stopped altogether and said, we need to have a brand new training structure, and or we have to hold people accountable. The fact that this is happening all the time means that you've created a space, a command structure that has allowed this, because these men feel that there's going to be no accountability. Now, rolling forward, after Renee Good was shot, the agent called her I quote, a fucking bitch on camera. Yes or no, is this how your agents are trained to act? And I'll go to Chairman Scott, Chairman, Mr. Scott.
No, sir.
Is that professional in that regard? I asked this earlier. Your weapons, your agents, Director Lyons, are trained in weapons handling, correct?
Yes, sir.
If you look at the Renee Good shooting, why is the agent holding a camera phone and a weapon at the same time?
So, sir, I don't want to comment on the ongoing investigation just because that's still being determined at this time. But could I just go back to one thing, sir, that you mentioned earlier?
No. I want to ask further questions on this. Has there ever been an order to any agents, CBP agents in Minnesota or other place, for them to be recording on their personal phones to essentially be somewhat social influencers or to pass, the media on to up? Has there ever been any orders given for people to be holding or for agents to be recording while they're, doing these stops or engaging with the public?
Sir, has there ever been an order to do that? Agents have used it as far as if they were going to make an arrest, say, on an agitator. The U.S. Attorney was requiring to have video leading up to the event, so officers have used that for that.
For video from a handheld, from a phone?
If they had a body camera available, from the body camera or from any type of recording device.
But the reason there's a difference is because the body cam is designed for a police officer or law enforcement to engage while still being able to have full scope of knowledge what's happening, be able to detain, be able to escalate if they need to escalate. What I saw and what the world saw for me is the fact that there was an agent that was moving around a vehicle with a camera phone recording and his hand on the weapon. In what world, in what training between all of your training in weapons handling, have you ever been taught what the appropriate use of you holding a weapon and at the same time recording on a camera phone? Did you have any of that type of training at all in your time in ICE, law enforcement, or through CBP?
No, sir, I haven't. But again, we look at every instance, no matter what it is. So
shouldn't there be some kind of command or directive that comes down from CBP headquarters, knowing that this is unprofessional conduct that probably created and put the officer and probably the civilian in a situation that ended up escalating to a shooting, that maybe you shouldn't be holding a camera out, trying to be influencer, and wielding a weapon at the same time? That is a professional code of conduct. As law enforcement, as military, you would never do that because you cannot handle a weapon, assess the situation, and being able to determine to escalate or de-escalate. Did you issue any type of direction after Ms. Good was shot, saying that this is not what you should be doing, or we're just accepting that this is going to continue going forward?
No, sir, there was nothing issued because we do hold our individuals accountable. That's my point I wanted to make earlier is that, from January 25 to January 26, ICE has had 37 open investigations for excessive use of force. So we do hold individuals accountable. Out of those, 18 of those were closed, 19 are still pending, and one has been referred for further action.
And so to back up, it's not even necessarily just like that. I'm glad you're doing investigations, to be clear. But the fact that there are consistent mishandling of weapons, use of escalation of force that is above what is necessary, and there still hasn't been any command decision and directive about how to actually, fix this, is concerning, because any other agency, any other law enforcement, any other military agency would have said, do not do this. If, for example, do not be recording with your phone while actually handling a weapon and moving in front of a moving vehicle. That's it. I yield back. Thank you.
Yeah, I think these are good points because in moving forward, things have not been perfect. We're going to do better. You're not holding your gun and holding a camera at the same time sounds like a pretty easy one, that you probably shouldn't do that. I think we went over this earlier, but verbal altercation, people are backing away. I think you both acknowledged that pepper spraying someone backing away was not recommended policy.
How you outlined it, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so I think we have made some progress on some of these things, but it's important because your agents are watching this too, and then you have to let everybody know sort of what the policies are, and things haven't been perfect, and there needs to be, my goal hasn't been, you may not believe me, but my goal isn't to make it harder for you. My goal is to restore trust in the organization, and I think that's through honest self-assessment. Senator Fetterman.
One of the most revealing moments of this congressional hearing wasn't about immigration policy itself, it was about how immigration enforcement is being carried out on America's streets. Senator Ruben Gallego used nearly his entire questioning period to examine videos showing ICE operations that, in his view, demonstrated serious failures in professionalism, training, and accountability. Rather than beginning with statistics or politics, Gallego immediately played a series of videos for the committee. The footage showed chaotic encounters between immigration agents and civilians, including one incident involving pepper spray and another involving a fatal shooting. After the videos ended, Gallego asked a straightforward question. Did the behavior Americans had just witnessed represent the professional standard ICE expects from its officers? ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons declined to judge the individual incidents directly, saying he could not comment on specific ongoing investigations. But Gallego wasn't satisfied with that response. Instead, he shifted the discussion toward training. He noted that ICE recently shortened its basic academy from roughly 75 days to 42 days while increasing daily training hours. Gallego questioned whether less than 2 months of academy instruction could adequately prepare officers for high-pressure operations in crowded urban environments where split-second decisions involving firearms must be made. Director Lyons defended the changes, explaining that academy graduates continue their development through an on-the-job training program supervised by experienced officers. Gallego acknowledged the existence of that field training but argued it still leaves inexperienced agents operating in some of the country's most challenging enforcement environments. The exchange became even more intense when Gallego focused on use of force practices. Drawing from his own military experience, he questioned why officers appeared to be using equipment in ways that contradicted basic weapons safety principles. He specifically referenced footage that appeared to show an officer striking someone with a tear gas launcher. Gallego asked both witnesses whether they had ever been trained to use law enforcement equipment in that manner. Both answered no. That answer allowed Gallego to make a broader point. If officers are repeatedly engaging in conduct that their own training does not teach, then the problem may not simply be individual mistakes. It may reflect deeper leadership failures within the organization. But perhaps the hearing's most memorable exchange came when Gallego turned to the shooting involving Renee Good. Without asking about the ongoing investigation itself, he focused on something entirely different. Video appeared to show an officer simultaneously holding a personal cell phone while keeping the other hand on a firearm during an active enforcement operation. Gallego repeatedly asked why an officer would ever be recording on a personal phone while also handling a weapon. Director Lyons responded that no ICE policy instructs agents to record operations on personal phones. He explained that, in some situations, officers have recorded events to preserve evidence requested by prosecutors. Gallego accepted that explanation for documentation purposes, but emphasized that documentation should come from body cameras or other approved recording equipment, not from officers attempting to manage a personal cell phone while making potentially life-or-death decisions. For Gallego, the issue wasn't simply optics. It was officer safety, civilian safety, and professional policing. He argued that dividing an officer's attention between filming and weapon handling creates unnecessary risks that could escalate already tense encounters. Throughout the exchange, Gallego returned to one consistent theme: accountability. He acknowledged that ICE conducts excessive force investigations but questioned why repeated incidents continue appearing on video without broader changes in policy or training. Director Lyons responded that ICE had opened dozens of excessive force investigations, with several already completed and others still underway. He insisted the agency does hold officers accountable when misconduct occurs. By the conclusion of the hearing, Gallego made clear that his goal was not to prevent ICE agents from doing their jobs. Instead, he argued that stronger training, clearer leadership, and consistent accountability would ultimately strengthen both public confidence and officer safety. The hearing underscored an important debate that extends beyond immigration politics. Every law enforcement agency depends on public trust. That trust is built not only through enforcing the law, but also through professionalism, transparency, and a willingness to correct mistakes when they occur. Whether viewers agree with Gallego's criticism or ICE's defense, the exchange highlighted why congressional oversight remains an essential part of ensuring that government agencies remain accountable to the people they serve.